Hello and welcome back to Trades, Trends, and Kyle's Takes. I'm your host, Kyle. Today's date is August 21st, 2024. Indexes are up just a smidge today. It appears the markets are waiting for some further economic developments to be revealed before we continue strongly further upward, or if we're going to start to make another wave back downwards. Employment data is again today making headlines. The BLS, or Bureau of Labor Statistics, has come out and said, how over the last 12 months we've estimated that there's been about 2.9 million new jobs. Well, there's actually only been about 2.1. Just a little oopsie in their calculations. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean that job growth was net negative this whole time. In fact, it was actually closer to what analysts were estimating all along. New jobs were being added at about 175,000 a month, but that's still a good 28% lower than what they were thought to be. I don't think too much weight is relying on these surveys, and that's really what they are, is they're surveys from businesses. The BLS website emphasizes that not all businesses provide this information in a timely manner that allows them to be within even 10% accuracy. It appears that on average, they're lucky to get about 70% of surveys back in time to go into what makes up the data. So it's not unreasonable that there are revisions that take place months down the road. At the same time, though, a revision of nearly 30% is no small amount. I find it funny because on individual releases of this data from month to month, the market really seems to react one way or another based on the results. Yet when we get the revision this morning, bright and early, markets were largely unfazed. There was a minor whiplash that took place with the S&P 500 moving up and down about 0.4 to 0.5%. I don't know, I guess I'm just a little bit surprised that the data was off by that much this whole time and that there was no shock factor to the markets as a result from it. In fact, there was almost a larger reaction to the FOMC minutes that were released around noon for the Federal Reserve interest rate meeting that took place at the end of July. And the FOMC minutes is really just a summary, if not just a recap of what already took place. So there was no news in there at all. Yet we saw a good little bit of volatility when that went live. Speaking of the Fed, Powell will be talking at Jackson Hole on Friday. There's no guarantee that he reveals any new information about inflation or about how confident they're feeling about their ability to cut rates in September. Though he is a key member of the Federal Reserve, there probably is not that many other topics for him to talk about, or at least that are on his mind right now. The best part, or perhaps the most interesting part, is that his keynote speech is taking place 30 minutes before market open. So be careful out there on Friday. It might be a little bit of a rough start to the trading day for market participants. Now, if you're not familiar with Jackson Hole takes place in Wyoming, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and every year they have an annual financial economic symposium, and they have people from all over the world. Last year they were bragging how they had some participants from over 70 different countries, I believe, and they range from economists to experts in different categories, mathematicians, statisticians, you could have traders there from large institutions. You could have just a very diverse group of people, and they all bring together their own studies and economic research and ideas and analyses. So it's no surprise that they invite, or at least allow, the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, to go. Not always were Federal Reserve members invited, though, and it is a limited occupancy event. So it is nice to see the Federal Reserve taking part in these types of things and share some of their knowledge, share some of their studies, some of their data that they have available. So there certainly could be something that comes out of that markets react to on Friday morning. I think everybody's kind of sitting tight, not sure if it's going to be an impactful event or not. I can't imagine if Jerome does talk about economics and interest rates and inflation and all that stuff, that it's going to be anything different from what we've been hearing already. We will see what happens Friday morning, and I'll be sure to cover that Friday afternoon if there's any significant events that take place there. But regardless, I should have a daily news-ish, Thursday, Friday news update on Friday. So thank you all so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you all soon.